What's going on YouTube? It's fineokay, and today I'm bringing you guys an update video for the Guardian builds. So at the start of Season 5 I made a video on how to build Guardians. And with patches, items being nerfed, changed, just a better understanding of the meta with screaming and all that kind of stuff, I decided to make an update video so we could change up the build a little bit. So yeah, that's what we're going to get into. I'm just going to go ahead and go into Sobek since I think he's a pretty good Guardian. There's a pretty core build that you have to have, and then there's some situational items that you can go. But we're also going to change the starter. So the starter is now going to be Warrior's Blessing instead of Mage's Blessing. Mage's Blessing got nerfed. Warrior's Blessing got buffed a lot. It's just a super good item. It makes you unkillable in solo. It's just a, super good. Good sustain as well. So we're going to be going Warrior's Blessing from now on. You can be going Chalice most of the time. You could get away with not going Chalice just because you have a lot of sustain in your kit on certain gods like Sobek, RDO, Terra, stuff like that. However, I prefer to still go Chalice just because it gives you infinite sustain for the entire game as long as you're backing consistently. Just a really good item. I think Chalice of Healing is one of the best items in the game, really. So this is where I'd be going about 3 health pots as well. And Teleport, I just prefer Teleport. You could get away with not going that and going something different, maybe like a Sprint, something, Shell, Horrific, whatever. Usually not Horrific because you're playing Guardian, you're not going to be playing that aggressive. And then just Healing Pots so you can keep the sustain in lane, because a lot of times you don't have that good of clear early on, so you're going to have to tank the minion wave so it doesn't go under tower. So just having that extra sustain is good. But if you feel like you're not going to get your blue buff, or you just think you're not going to take that much poke because you're against another Guardian, you could just go 2 or 3 multi-pots instead so you can keep your mana up. So that would be the start, and that's where we get into our core, and these are kind of your non-negotiables. You can pretty much have to go this every single game. I prefer to go cooldown boots now instead of pen boots on pretty much everybody. You're not getting the CDR from your Mage's Blessing like you were before, so you kind of want that cooldown. Extra mana you get from this is really nice. You're a Guardian. A lot of your abilities are CC oriented and disruption. Just having them off cooldown non-stop is just super important. So. And it makes perfect sense because once you get your breastplate and you have blue buff, you're just going to have full CDR for the entire game. So that's really good. Allows you to spam your abilities. So if you're against a magical, I prefer to go Stone of Gaia here. It just gives you crazy sustain, good effective health. But if you're against a physical, I would go breastplate here and then go Stone of Gaia. And then I would go Void Stone after that. This is, like I said, your core. You get the physical defense that you need, that full CDR to spam your abilities. Crazy sustain with this, good effective health, and then the damage you get and the sustain. Not the sustain, but rather the defense you get from this is really nice too. Effective health, 150 health, plus 60 magical protections. It's really good. This is just like the best Guardian item in the game, basically. So this would be your core. However, there is a little leeway here. Something you can look to go, and it's just something you have to mess around with, is Warlock Staff, because it gives you a lot of health, 600 health, right? A good amount of magical power as well. And once you get to full build, this will put you way over 3,000 health. So if you're against a physical, I would go breastplate here, of course, into Void Stone, and then I would probably go Stone of Gaia here. However, this doesn't let you have the Stone of Gaia early on, so it's something you just have to mess around with. I like to have Stone of Gaia in the laning phase, which is really good. But if I were to go Warlock Staff, I'd probably go Mantle last, just so I can get the protections that I need. But this will put me way over 3,000 health, I'm pretty sure, as a Guardian. Well, it's not stacked, so I'd be at 3260 health, so yeah, about 260 more health than 3000, so that's pretty good. But like I said, I like to have Stone of Gaia in the laning phase, so something I like to go is just Stone of Gaia, breastplate, and Void Stone. Something to keep in mind with this build is if you're against a magical jungler and a magical soul laner, then you want to have Void Stone here instead of breastplate and then go breastplate here. Obviously, if you're against 2 magical, you're going to take a lot of damage from them, so you need to make sure you itemize against that. But most of the time, you're going to be able to go breastplate or Stone of Gaia first, and then go the other one that you didn't go. So this would be your build. And then this is where it gets a little situational. I usually like to go Mantle because you're not going to have your blue buff all the time, so this will put you at full CDR. This is like towards the later stages of the game, right? You have your blue buff almost always in the early mid, but towards the later stages, you're not going to have it all the time. So getting this item is just, the pass is really good. The 60 protections each is really good, and then the CDR will put you at full CDR, so that's really nice. And then your last item is where it gets really situational. If you want more damage, you feel like you're tanky enough, Soul Reaver is always a nice option. It just gives you that one-shot potential. Gem Isolation is an option as well if your god makes good use of that, like RDO, Terra, stuff like that. Kraken maybe. And then if you don't want to go damage, you need more tankiness. Magi's is an option. It's a really good item, I think, especially on a Guardian. If they have to they have to use their abilities on you to proc it before the fight. Just make sure you don't get it poked off. Midgardian's also a good option that recently got buffed. 350 health plus 40 physical protection, so it's an awesome passive against all ADCs in the game, is really good. However, if you do go Thorns, you want Nemean instead of Midgardian, just because it synergizes really well. Midgardian doesn't really synergize with it because it actually lowers their damage output by slowing their attack speed. So Nemean, if you have Thorns. If you don't have Thorns, then you would probably go Midgardian. Good survivability in this item. Keep in mind that all 5 of these right here that I'm clicking on are your last item options. It just depends on what you really want, and depending on how the game's going and stuff like that. And if you're a god that makes good use of healing, such as like Terra, Ardio, Rod of Asclepius is always good. It's a good last item because it helps out your team. And if you're in combat healing, then Lotus Crown is an option as well. So these are all kind of your situational last items. I prefer to go these 5 items almost every game. I just think they're really good. And they make perfect sense for Guardians. And then your last item is where you can kind of mess around and change things up based on your character, because, you know, Sobek doesn't really make good use of Rod of Asclepius and Jemviso, but there's some characters that do, like Terra, like Kabrakian, like Ardio, so kind of just need to change it up based on the character you're playing and based on the enemy team comp and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just the update to the Guardian build video. I hope you guys learned something, learned a thing or two. Like I said, we did change it up quite a bit just because of all the patches, all the things that we've learned since the season started, and all that kind of stuff. We did kind of get away from that idea that you have to build more damage this season. I think that's kind of devolved into a myth because being super tanky is just super important still. It's just like you need to tank up Phoenixes. Sieging is even harder, so you need to be even more tanky so you can you know, have that leeway at the Phoenix siege and stuff like that. So, but that doesn't mean you can't go like a Soul Reaver last item just because, you know, you can one-shot and that can instantly win you a fight. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tomorrow I'll be releasing another in-review video from a ranked gameplay I had yesterday. It's actually going to be a loss, so you get to see the point of view when I lose a game. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.